Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. We covered this week's X-Men and Avengers books. Now it's on to this week's Spider-Man and miscellaneous Marvel books. Kicking things off, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 8. Where we left off, Vulture had been told by his granddaughter, Starling, that as she has learned of the truth about his various crimes, including a few murders, she's no longer going to associate with him. She will no longer come see him. And let's slip that she learned this through someone else, potentially speaking, someone Spider adjacent. And so the Vulture went after Spider-Man to kill, with the intention of killing him. Meanwhile, Peter Parker went to Oscorp to see about a job offer that Osborn hinted at. Osborn also stated that he had worked on a new spider suit for Peter, but Peter doesn't trust Osborn for good reason. Osborn's put him through quite a bit over the years, so it's understandable that he might not trust Normie. So, but Vulture caught up with Spider-Man and beat him up pretty good, dropping him from quite the destroying his web shooters and dropping him from a rather high altitude. So while falling towards Central Park with broken web shooters, Spider-Man's trying to figure out a way to survive this and pulls out one of his web fluid cartridges. It's full, it's pressurized. He manages to break it open. And he falls through the trees and stops just shy of the ground. When Vulture comes back through and grabs him and slams him into a brick wall. But Peter calls Osborn, asks about the suit, kind of saying, okay, I need that suit after all. And when Osborn basically says, I can't help you. I can't bring you the suit. I just can't. Osborn, Spidey's angry, and Osborn is also apparently mad at him and crushes his phone in his hand. But Vulture manages to get Spidey back towards the Oscorp building, and so Spidey runs in and puts on the armor. And takes the fight to Vulture using a bomb full of kind of a pumpkin bomb full of like small mecha spiders. But Spider-Man is able to turn things around. He confronts Vulture about what's going on, and Vulture tells him. And Spider-Man points out, okay, so you're mad that your granddaughter found out that you've killed people, so you decide to so the next thing you decide to do is kill me for having passed that along. But Spider-Man does say, does kind of say, hey, can you settle for the fact that you almost killed me? And I'm gonna be sore for like a month. But Vulture's gonna say, I guess I'm gonna have to. But Peter goes back to Oscorp with the spider suit, and he's still mad at Norman, and he explained that he needed the suit back there, and he almost got killed, and asked if that's what Norman wanted. But Norman explains that what he wanted was to put the suit on, glide to Peter's location, and save Peter himself. To atone for what he's done to Peter and those Peter loves. And so Peter asked, why didn't you? Why didn't he? And apparently Norman's afraid that if he gets on a glider again, he may never get off of it. Further goes into explaining that, well, the seer took Norman's sins away, but Norman doesn't know exactly what that means, and is pretty sure Peter doesn't have any better idea. But Norman chooses to believe that it means he has a second chance, and he doesn't want to put that at risk. And offering Peter a job at Oscorp is not a trap. And that maybe having Peter there would help keep Norman from going down the road that leads back to being the Goblin. And Peter agrees. And accepts the job that was offered. And Norman hires him on the spot. But that is where the issue ends. We got our next issue, picking up on a plot thread from the Hellfire Gala, and also tying into Avengers X-Men Eternals Judgment Day. But good book, good issue, solid issue. It's still unsettling to see Norman being, good. Very unsettling, but still, it's unsettling, but it's also interesting. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we got Miles Morales Spider-Man number 41. Where we left off, the barrier protecting the Sealam's empire had fallen, and Sealam himself headed to the battlefield. And so, Miles, Gank, and the rest of the Resistance deal with Sealam's troops, while Miles makes his way to Sealam. And Miles and Emperor Sealam have their fight when Uncle Aaron Prowler joins in. Miles and Prowler together are able to at least somewhat stop Salem, but it turns out that Salem's uniform is laced with an ultra-concentrated antimatter-based explosive. It takes 15 seconds to reach the proper temperature, and then it'll destroy the building they're in. But General Gank shows up, grabs Salem, and sacrifices himself to destroy Salem. But there's a funeral for Gank. Things are before Gank dies, though. He does ask that Miles tell Billy who she really is. But they have a memorial for Gank, and Billy has taken on her own Spider-Sona, Spider Smasher. More kind of an armored suit. And Miles Shift and Aaron head back to Earth 616. Not before one of the scientists that was part of Gangster Resistance kisses Shift. But the three of them go to the portal and end up back in Brooklyn on Earth 616. That is where the issue, but not the story arc, ends. We'll wrap up to the Empire of the Spider. It saddened me that it was kind of sad seeing Gank sacrifice himself. I also wish we could have gotten to actually see Miles telling Billy who she is, but and I'm not even. It doesn't. I don't think he actually did because it's there's no dialogue that gives any hint that he did. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Carnage #5. Where we left off, Carnage and Kenneth Neely were in Svartalheim. Carnage was after some mythical hounds, and sent Kenneth Neely to take down one of the Dark Elf hunters going after the hounds himself. Meanwhile, Detective Shade had ended up in the Spiderling's realm, and she had basically sent him along the way to where he needs to go. So Kenneth Neely is at the mercy of one of the Dark Elf hunters. Guy's missing a hand. He's got a malformed spine. The Dark Elf, that is. The two of them talk and seemingly come to an accord. The other hunters are dispatched one by Carnage, with the last one being taken out as Carnage arrives at the nest of the Hound Niaz. And it turns out that he's been utilizing the bodies of the other hunters as hosts for portions of the symbiote. And Carnage and his drones basically go after the hounds. With Neely and his Dark Elf quarry making an arrangement to, seemingly making an arrangement to, either A, Carnage is killed, or B, Carnage has worn down the other hunters enough so that perhaps they're weak enough so that they can be killed. However, Kenneth returns to Carnage, and Carnage asks if, hey, you take care of what I need you to take care of. He says he did. Takes Carnage to where the elf is tied to a tree, and turns out that Carnage is planning to head to hell with his new hound and Kenneth. Single L, hell, not two, not double. John Shade, meanwhile, ends up in Niflheim at the shore. Niflheim. Cletus telling him he's going that to stop Carnage, he's gonna have to kill Malekith himself. And that is where the issue ends. The story is definitely getting interesting. I wasn't expecting. It was not what I would expect from a Carnage title. Moving on to our next book, we've got Spider-Gwen, Gwen-Verse number 5, wrapping up the miniseries. Where we left off, Ghost Spider and her recently created variants were face to face with Finale, and Nightbird had managed to get her head on straight and had joined Ghost Spider and the other Gwens. So the various Gwens go up against Finale individually. It doesn't really work out too well. But Gwen thinks back on everything, and she is able to stop Finale. And finally, the Gwens band together as the Gwen-Vengers. And they actually work as a team. But Finale's still working on ending time, and if they can get one of them back in time, if Gwen could go back to before Finale powered herself up at the beginning, maybe they'd have a chance. But they need her suit's life the life force of her suit isn't going to be enough to power the machine, the finalizer. And but sacrificing the Gwen variants would do the trick, which is what they do. So Ghost Spider takes on Finale one-on-one, manages to take her down, and Finale basically just explains that explains everything about her, and says that when when she dies, she'll be the memory of her mother will go with her. No one else will remember her. And the quote from Finale's mother is passed along to Ghost Spider. Everyone wants what they don't have. Everyone forgets what they do. Everything falls behind us. Everything like prints from a shoe. But Finale stopped, and Gwen is able to save the multiverse, the entire multiverse, not just the Spider-Verse, and then heads back to Earth 65, where she pretty much sleeps for a week, even after having crashed it with Spider-Zero for a little bit. But the quote from Finale's mother is worked into one of the Mary Jane's songs, and Gwen is actually starting to like herself, which is something she mentioned earlier, that she's kind of her least favorite person most of the time, in part because having powers would lead to the death of her best friend, Peter Parker, and so on and so forth. But that is where the series ends. It was a fun little mini-series. I like I did enjoy the idea of non-traditional Gwen variants. They're not from her time. They're not they're not from alternate Earths. They're from altered portions of Earth 65's timeline. So not variants in the traditional sense, basically. Anyway, moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Damage Control #1. So, what is Damage Control? Damage Control is in the comics, at least. They started off as being the company that would come in and repair the damage from superhero battles. Since then, they've made their debut in the MCU, where they also are the ones who pick up the dropped bits of alien tech, or, well, high-level tech, and basically keep it out of the hands of, anyone that might misuse said tech. So, our issue focuses on Gus. Gus is trying to get an internship with Damage Control. He needs a job. He's talking at a coffee shop with Bart, who is the head intern. That's right, Gus is going for an internship. Apparently, while at the coffee shop, Moon Knight's there getting his coffee, which, it should be noted, do not try and drink the coffee that Moon Knight orders. You will likely die. We also get a new nickname for Moon Knight, Moob Knife. So, that order. Grande Quad Non-Fat 1 Pump No Whip Mocha Upside Down. But so Damage Control is based out of the Flatiron Building. The fact that it's falling apart, and that's just what Damage Control wants the public to think. And looks like this series is going to be filled to the brim with cameos. But Gus starts in the mailroom. Apparently, there's an ice cream cake for Albert Cleary on the 19th floor. 13th floor. While in the elevator, Ghost Rider's there, and Gus asks if he can, maybe tone down the flame skull, and yeah. But the cake's melting. He's trying to find the office he needs to deliver the cake to, but he's having trouble with it, and it gets meltier and meltier. But he manages to get it to the comptroller, Albert Cleary. Of course, the cake's fairly melted, so Albert's not happy. Kind of goes off on him. But turns out that Albert stress eats. But Albert manages to get Nightcrawler to help him with delivering the mail quickly. But one letter didn't get delivered. And that one letter, so Gus figures just stick in the shredder. What's the worst gonna happen? Apparently, it puts the entirety of existence at risk. So Gus and Bart digging into the dumpster looking for the pieces of the letter. Quicksilver runs by, then runs back by, and is Shanghai helping out. He managed to find the missing letter and tape it back together. But Bart's saying that, maybe mailroom isn't the right place for Gus. But he's got so maybe he's going to move to someplace else. We also get a backup story called Zapped and the Mother of Dimension, focusing on a younger Bart. Apparently his mother shows up at Damage Control to see her baby boy. and buys a whole bunch of souvenirs from their gift shop, including the reality gem. So she turns into a giant monster when Thanos appears with 5 out of 6 Infinity Gems. So Thanos and Mom are duking it out, but Thanos manages to get the gem, puts it on, goes after Mom, and well, he's defeated by a there. But she sends him back, tells him to go right back to Titan and think about what he's done, and don't come back down from Titan until she says so. But the gem has apparently been misplaced and ended up in the Hudson, where it's turned a fish into a Wolverine fish, and that is where the issue ends. This seems like it's going to be a fun little mini-series. I have to admit, the cover art does make it appear as though Nightcrawler, Quicksilver, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Ghost Rider are going to be regularly appearing, and who knows, maybe they will be. We'll find out next month, I guess. But the way it's looking for now is that it's just going to be superhero cameos throughout, which, you know, always fun. But yeah. Anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.